Well, that sucked. Welcome on in, guys, to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I am your host, Damon Farrell, coming to you live from my home, my childhood home. That's right. As you can see behind me, I have my mother's Wonder Woman posters. She's a big fan of Wonder Woman. And yeah, I just wanted to go live, talk with all of you fine folks, all of you U of A fans about, the horrific atrocity that we unfortunately had to watch in this College World Series. Two games that were extremely winnable by Arizona standards and by the way that this team probably should be playing. It just tough to take. Two very, very tough to take losses. Yeah, I mean, sloppy play down the stretch. Just not the way that this team wanted to play. Not the way that this team wanted to go out, considering the fantastic season that they had this year. And yeah, it's tough to watch. I mean, I think Arizona, I think if they won this game, I was ready to call us the ACC champs as well. Not only the Pac-12 champs, not only the Big 12 champs, but I wanted to be 3-time conference champions this year in knocking off North Carolina and Louisville, and it just wasn't in the cards. Lost Highway, you're very right, sir. I am not on fast. I am not live. So I think I can say this. That was fluky bullshit. That was fluky bullshit. Another, down the line blooper that just lands straight on the foul line and just screws this team over. And I know that that's baseball, and we talked about it on Friday morning after that game, but it just sucks. It sucks to lose these games with little dribblers, little, bad contact just falling in the right place for these opponents. And Louisville, they had the right end of the luck today, just as Coastal Carolina did earlier in the week. I think there's plenty of things we can look at from Arizona's perspective, how they could have played better in both of those games. I mean, today we'll talk about it in a second here, but today, you had two errors that proved very costly. You had some base running mistake from Mason White there in that first inning. It's just this team didn't play their best baseball, but at the same time, in both of these games, it's hard to take because you felt that the team probably was, at least from my perspective, probably the better team. They just kind of shot themselves in the foot, and that's what's very difficult to take. My guy Kevin Thomas, who is back in town, will be back tomorrow on Monday's show, 2 p.m. Make sure you guys are there. Put out this tweet, and it's pretty telling of how this Arizona baseball season went. From Kevin, Arizona entering the College World Series was 39-0 when leading or tied after the seventh inning, in large part due to Tony Pluta, in large part due to just this bullpen in general and how great they've been all season long. And in the College World Series, Arizona 0-2 while leading or tied after the seventh inning. Of course, he tweeted that, while Arizona was still had a slight chance, but yeah, things did look bleak, and that's a tough way to end your season. That's a tough way to end your season, considering that the strength of this team has been its back end bullpen, been its ability to maintain leads all year long. And as much as Tony Pluta has been great, and as much as it wasn't even really like a situation as we're talking about with the little drop in blooper that just went against us. Like, it's just a situation where, Tony Pluta maybe didn't have his best stuff, but he also got unlucky. And you hate to see that for a guy like Tony, who's just been, unbelievable all season long, right? Like, stopper of the year for a reason, was the best relief pitcher in all of college baseball. And, just wasn't as shut down when it came to, the College World Series in particular. Was great in the Super Regional, great in the Regional, great in the Big 12 tournament. And just things just didn't go our way in this one. But I think you left some runners on the board there. You left a lot of runners on base, and it came back to bite this team. And Louisville, a team that's very they clearly are a speed driven team. They like to get a lot of runners on base. Don't have a lot of slug. Not hitting the ball for a ton of power, and only one extra base hit on the day, and it was a double. And yeah, just lots of singles and just cause havoc on the base paths. And they ultimately in the final two frames of this one just found a way to get those base runners on, and unfortunately it just ended Arizona's season here. But in general, great year from the Wildcats. Never a bad year, never anything to scoff at. When you make it to the College World Series, when you make it to Omaha, it's a special season when you do so, and that shouldn't be discounted. But obviously, when you get there, you want to be a little bit more successful than you were, and unfortunately, again, Arizona just not in the cards for this team. Brian Peterson from AZ Desert Swarm, was out there in Omaha covering, and has a quote here from Chip Hale that I wanted to read. Obviously, it's not the way you want to end it, but the only way you want to end it ends with a championship. And that's via Chip Hale, won a championship as a player and was hoping to bring one home as a coach, here in 2025. But I think that's the perspective of this team. They very much felt like they wanted to win this whole thing. They felt like they could have. And I think you could easily say that Arizona, should be 2-0 right now. I mean, I know that they wouldn't have gone into the losers bracket if they won the first game, but Oregon State in Louisville, that game ended in a walk-off, very, very close game. You could see Arizona, beating Oregon State in that one, and being in the driver's seat to make the national championship series. So yeah, it's a brutal season for Arizona baseball. If we take a look at the stats here from the game, 8-3 in favor of Louisville. 13 hits to 11 in favor of Louisville. A lot of those coming late in that final two frames, that eighth inning in particular. 2 errors for the Wildcats to 0 for Louisville. Just goes to show how thin these margins are. And then this runner's in scoring position. That is a massive, massive deal. Arizona only hits 200, leaves 8 runners on base in scoring position, or not necessarily how that works, but leaves a good amount of players in scoring position. Louisville leaves 10, but hits 333 in the process. And then as well, the strikeout number there is massive, right? Arizona strikes out 10 times. A lot of it's better hitters, Brendan Summerhill, Mason White. They striking out. Brendan Summerhill had 2 strikeouts, Mason White 2 strikeouts, Mia Lacus 2 strikeouts, Aaron Walton 2 strikeouts. That's a combined 8 strikeouts from your first 5 hitters, and Adonis Guzman had a strikeout as well. So, make that 9. Just a brutal amount of strikeouts from that top of the lineup. And yeah, I mean, you can go back to that decision to bunt. You can go back to a million things in this game. Mason White getting caught in that pickle. You never know how that inning could unfold if he ends up scoring in that one. And also getting a couple runners on base. And what was that? I want to say it was like the 4th or 5th inning, where you get, you have runners on base, nobody out, first and second, and you don't end up getting anyone across the board. I think that in that situation, if you could have gotten up to about 5-1, you get a couple of those runs across the board. Like the difference in that game, the difference that Tony Pluta has in feeling confident going up there with such a cushioned lead. I just think that that's where you lose this one. And Arizona, as much as we want to complain about those bloopers, and it sucks because that's just a horrible way to lose a baseball game. Yeah, it just a brutal, not getting timely hits from this team as they have all postseason long, and ultimately ends the season here. But you hate to see that a guy like Smith Bailey go out there, 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, 6 runners left on base, was absolutely nails in big moments, trying to strand runners. And just what an incredible performance by the freshman pitcher here. A guy that Arizona fans should be thrilled about and hanging their hat on moving forward and going into next season, right? So let's talk about next season for a second. Next season, there's a you lose Mason White. You lose Brendan Summerhill, probably, right? Like those guys are juniors. They're going to be drafted high enough where, they're clearly going to go to the pros. That's their best chance. You don't want to stay till your senior season. But, you look at a guy like Tony Pluta. He's a junior. I think he comes back because he doesn't really have that major league stuff, right? He throws a little bit slow for that. You have, Andrew Kane back. You have, Easton Bryfogle will be back next season. Kramkowski, obviously, I think the majority of this pitching staff is going to, find itself back here. But you lose big pieces of this team: Mason White, Brendan Summerhill, Tommy Spillane. It's just it sucks to see those guys go out the door. It sucks to see those guys, their careers, their storied careers, end the way that it did, especially for a guy like Mason White, right, where he just really didn't have his, I don't think his best stuff necessarily in this one. But yeah, Brendan Summerhill, again, another one, 0 for 5 in this game. Didn't have a great game, in my opinion, versus Coastal Carolina. You need your big dogs. You need your big hitters to kind of push you over the top in moments like this. And it just sadly didn't happen for this team. But yeah, I think moving forward for the Cats, like, you have a good basis of a roster. You have some players in place. Maybe you need to bring in some transfer hitters, some big time bats, right? But ultimately, the pitching staff is going to be back in large part next season. And I think that's something that you can hang your hat on as an Arizona fan. Will this team be as good as it was this season? Probably not, right? But I think that Chip Hale, in the process of this, has earned himself a contract extension. We talked about it with Justin Spears earlier in last week. Chip Hale is the 23rd highest paid coach in all of Division I baseball. He is clearly better than the 23rd best coach in all of college baseball. So he deserves that contract extension. He's not incredibly high paid, but he has proven the last 2 years and with the success, especially in the postseason, that he is the right man for the job. And on top of that, one thing that Justin brought up to me that I feel is so important to this conversation is that Chip Hale has really kept these guys together, kept this core together, right? Like, you didn't see a lot of outflux of transfers with Chip Hale in the transfer portal era like you have with other programs. He seems to have a team that is fully bought in, fully connected to each other, and that wants to play for each other and with each other. So I think that, this is you got to trust in Chip Hale. Especially in this transfer portal era. I think that aspect of things is so important, keeping these guys together. And yeah, you're right. Lost Highway, Guzman gone as well. Walton gone as well. Guzman, an example though of a transfer brought in, a big time impact transfer that was brought in by Chip Hale. And you're gonna need some of those going into next season. Absolutely, you're gonna need some of those because, like we talk about, you're losing a lot of the big time bats in this starting lineup. So. That's college baseball. It's hard, but ultimately, all these teams, like, these are all elite teams that have made it here at this point. But I think for Arizona fans, it's tough to bite the bullet on. We could have easily won both of these games, and it didn't happen, and it sucks. Louisville, I don't have as much disdain for as I do for Coastal Carolina. Screw Coastal Carolina. The enemy for life. It's on site with Coastal Carolina. It's just, I wanted to be ACC champions, man. I wanted to keep this season alive. And, this team they found ways to win baseball games every step along the way until the College World Series, until Omaha, when the margins get this much smaller. And you just don't have the horses. You don't have what it takes to get the W. So, it's tough. But I think Chip Hale earned this contract extension. Sound off in the comments. Let me know. Do you think Chip Hale deserves this contract extension? I don't see any Arizona fan that wouldn't say that, but I also don't think Chip Hale is going to hold this athletic department with a gun to their head. He's not going to push it with DRF. He's not going to be the guy who's like, no, I need this much money. In fact, Michael Lev, who is, probably the most dialed in journalist around Arizona regarding the baseball program, mentioned that he thinks that Chip Hale will prioritize getting his assistants a raise rather than himself, that it's less about him. It's more about, keeping his assistant coaches in the place that they are. So, I expect things to get done regarding Chip Hale. I expect a contract extension to be in the works, but It's never done until it's set in stone. And, the way things went down with Adia Barnes, the way things are happening right now with Caitlin Lowe, it does raise some eyebrows and makes you think a little bit like, is this going to finally happen? Is this going to get done? I think it will. I think by all accounts, all the people that are dialed into this program think it will. But you never know, man. You just never know. I think that's going to do it, man. I appreciate everybody for hopping on here. Drop a like on this video if you are here. Follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. I just wanted to sit here and cope and have a little bit of a therapy sesh with all of my closest friends in the world. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in and doing it with me. So, that's going to do it. We'll be back, obviously, on a Monday at 2 p.m. Make sure you guys are there for that one. We'll be talking a little bit of Arizona basketball and my guy Kevin's trip to California. How was it in California? Lots of things happening right now in society. But yeah, that's going to do it for us today. Give us a follow at PHNX_Wildcats. Give me a follow at Damon Dog. Follow my guy Kevin at Kevo Posts. But yeah, we appreciate everybody for joining us. Drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and bear down, guys. I mean, it's tough. You hate to see it, but it's on to football season. It's on to basketball season, and that's the way it is. But another College World Series appearance for Arizona. Another successful season, I think, at the end of the day, despite not getting, the ultimate goal of a national championship. But this program continues to soar, it continues to rise, and it continues to, represent this university at the highest level. Like, this is, I think, a baseball school, it's a softball school, it's a basketball school, it's all three of those, right? And it's proven yet again with another really good season from this Arizona baseball team. What they do in the offseason remains to be seen. We'll keep you updated, though, on our accounts. Make sure to throw us a follow, like this video. We appreciate everybody for being here. And not a great day to be an Arizona Wildcat, but, we're going to figure things out and we're going to cope with it together. Appreciate everybody. Love you guys. And until next time, peace out. Bear down. Go Cats.
We all silly like the mayor.